If you haven't seen, Kiesel Guitars has released a brand new model called the Kyber guitar, and they sent me one to make a deep dive on, but more importantly, they wanted my reaction to it. So they sent it to me with no information. If you want to see my unboxing and reaction video, I'll put a link in the description down below. It takes you to my second channel, so you can watch how I reacted to the guitar not knowing anything about it. So with that being said, let's get into the geeky stuff. So this is the Kyber, named after the Kyber crystal, the crystal that they put in a lightsaber from Star Wars. Jeff Kiesel is a huge Star Wars fan. A lot of the guitars, like the Vader and the Leia and the Solo, are named after Star Wars stuff. So this is where this comes in. A little bit of a departure from things they've done in the past because it has a lot of crazy features. The biggest and most important feature to mention on this is that they started this guitar at a price point of $1,550. But it's important to understand how Kiesel pricing works because I think a lot of people are confused by it. The base option model, you are going to get a quarter saw neck, stainless steel frets, graphite nut, locking tuning keys, 2 carbon fiber rods, the same pickups. This has the lithium and the beryllium. And this is a good time to add that if you want to use a set of pickups that they don't offer, you can send them any set of pickups and they'll install them for absolutely free. And you'll get a hardtail bridge and a satin colored finish. You will also get a deluxe gig bag. So in other words, all of the important things, in other words, how it plays, how it feels, and how it sounds. If you want to start adding things, you are only adding aesthetic features. For instance, this has bevel cuts, so right here. But these bevels, you can see right here, are aesthetic only. That's $200 for that feature. And I personally think it looks better without them, but some of you might like this cut here and this cut here. The arm carves and everything that's important, that's standard. If you want a tremolo, this has a hip shot tremolo, you will have to pay for a tremolo. If you want a roasted maple neck, this has a roasted maple neck, you will add for that feature. Otherwise, you'll get a normal maple neck. This has an alder body and a satin finish. Satin finish would be in that price point for whatever standard colors. But for instance, if you want a gloss, which is an aesthetic choice, they would charge you for that. So again, they charge for the aesthetics. This guitar, I saw one on their website for almost $5,000. So think about this. You could take this guitar from $1,500 to $5,000 with aesthetic choices like wood tops and all kinds of crazy decisions. This also comes standard, I think I said, with the deluxe gig bag. You can upgrade to a case if you want. I like their gig bags. That's what I use. I prefer them. They're hard deluxe gig bags. For a guitar like this, a modern-esque guitar made in the USA sitting in at under $1,600 is a very competitive product. There are a ton of guitars in the market right now like this, feature-wise, in the same price range, made in Korea, Indonesia. So again, to see a US manufacturer competing is really cool to see, especially when you can change out colors and make some options. The one I'm doing today is about $2,319 because of all the upgrades. The other thing that's interesting is they put the strap buttons on the back of the guitar, and that is all part of the design. This guitar is designed for someone who's really wants to play and be super comfortable, because they also did something else really cool. They made the guitar body thinner. It does two things. One, it makes it really comfortable. I'd say like an SG, just really nice and comfortable for those kind of players. The other thing it does, it reduces the weight. This is an alder body, and then they say that with a hardtail, which this has a tremolo, the guitars will come at about 6 pounds. I get the impression that the majority of these guitars are kind of come in the 6 pound range, maybe the high being 7 flat. This one coming in at 9 pounds, just kidding, 6.25 pounds, or for those over there, overseas, 2.835 kilograms. So just over 6 pounds. And the other thing that's really cool is they made the guitar balanced so that it sits perfectly when you're playing with a strap. That's why they put the strap buttons where they did, and also in your lap. And just to show you how crazy this is, it's one of the few guitars you can do this. That's how balanced the guitar is. You see me do this to a Parker Fly. Parker Fly can do this too. The guitar is super light and super balanced. Now I've noticed that when you play it in your lap, there's a little bit of a neck dive. We'll just go over that when I do the playthrough part. Comes standard with coil split control and a 3-way switch. You have your output jack right here, and that's a barrel jack. And I know one of the features is they say you can set it, because the shape, set it on your kind of your lap or your thigh for like the classical playing position, but you do need a right angle cable to do that. That's just something you just have to be aware of, okay? The body is too thin to have the new feature that Kiesel does where they put 2 output jacks, one on the side and one on the back. It's just too thin for that. It's also too thin for a Floyd Rose. They have the new neck carve, which means when we do the handshake test right there, It's super comfortable. I like to point out that Charvel just announced that they've got a new perfect handshake neck joint. That is very flattering that they did that. Anyways, this handshake is very comfortable. Tons of access. I mean, obviously with a cutaway right here, you have no restriction of any point. So let's go over how they sent it, how was it set up out of the box. First things first, we're gonna look at the action. Looking at the action, we are at 1.75 millimeters off the low E and 1.5 off the high E, 1.5 off the B, 1.5 off the G, the D, and I was gonna say 1.25, but it's 1.5 off the A. So that's pretty low. We'll go ahead and look at the neck and see how they shipped it to us with, looks like about 8 thousandths of relief. We'll test that and I'll confirm that, and I'll put it down below if it's different, but I'm gonna say it's 8 thousandths of relief. Something else to mention, you can get this model in a 7 string, but either 7 or 6, it only comes in 25.5 inch scale length. And you can also pick your frets. This one came with stainless Jescar medium jumbo frets. I know a lot of people ask about the fretboard edge, is it rolled? It is not rolled, but it's not sharp or harsh. They are doing a new technique where they soften the edge, but they're not rolling it. Let's see how they did the frets. We'll see if they're level. We'll give it a playthrough and see if all the frets are level. Yeah, I mean, I'm not really shocked. The frets are all leveled, nice, no issues, no dead notes. I got a couple questions the last couple episodes. Somebody asked, what's a dead note? A dead note is when you play a note and it's buzzing and there's just, you actually can't hear the note. You can hear that buzz. So let's check the fret ends. So for that, we use a nylon sock and we just test to see how they polish the fret ends to see how that looks. So we'll go here, starting with the side. Okay, pretty good. Let's go ahead and get a close-up of that. That's the one mark right there. So we'll give it a 4.5 out of 5. So we caught something somewhere. I don't know where, but I mean, because I can't catch it again, but that's a 4.5 out of 5. Trying the base side, let's flip the other side so we're clean. And we'll try the base side. And that would be a 5 out of 5. Let's show a close-up of that. Okay, so we have a 5 out of 5. And of course, we want to check the bridge. We also like to see if they left any of the grub screws up, you know, so the grub screws are sticking up, and nothing. Everything feels pretty good, especially on a guitar like this where you're probably going to be palm muting. You don't want to feel any sharp corners or edges. Everything feels really nice and done really, really well. That's always great to see, especially on a guitar like this. This is a performance guitar. What I mean by that is it's built for performance. Think of it like a sports car. This is designed for someone who really wants to play fast or technical. I mean, right, you know, sure, could you do your cowboy chords on this guitar? Yeah, you could do that on any guitar, but typically not this. This guitar has a 14-inch radius. However, they will make this guitar in multiple different kinds of radiuses. So you can choose. You can get a 12-inch radius or a 20-inch radius, whatever. This one also has their thinner neck profile. So they have a standard neck profile, a thinner and a thicker. I've played the thinners and the thickers and the regular. And the variance between them is so slight. I don't know if I notice sometimes. Sometimes I feel like I got a neck that's regular and it feels thinner, and sometimes I got a thinner neck and I feel like it's regular. Like it's just the nuances of it. So with a guitar like this, I may suggest upgrading to the thinner neck profile. I'll give you the measurements of that so you know what we have. At the nut, we are looking at 42.44 millimeters or 1.671. And on the 12th fret, we are at 51.66 millimeters or 2.034. And let's do the thickness. Looking at the thickness at the first fret, this is again the thinner neck profile. We have the thickness of the first fret coming in at 19.15 millimeters or 0.754. And on the 12th fret, we have the thickness coming in at 21.44 millimeters or 0.844. So it's a thin neck. That would make it thin. I feel like it's a really comfortable C profile too. It's almost like the perfect old school Charvel neck. You know, when you got some of those old Charvels are really nice for those from there. Very comfortable profile. It doesn't have the flat U thing going on. Like I said, there's a C contour that's going all the way around it, which is really, really comfortable. I'm really glad they went that way instead of, you know, making it like a D or a U where it's a little flatter and there's that flat spot on the back where it's always like this, you know, the shreddy thing. It feels really good for the chords as well. You can pick your pickup. So this is a lithium and beryllium. The bridge pickup's a little hotter than the neck. Think of the neck as being more vintage voiced. This was probably sent to me because I have Kiesel guitar, the PM Delos, and in that's the pickups I have. So I would imagine when they sent this to me, they selected them based on that. That's what I used. I like the bridge to be more aggressive. The main reason is like I think of, in my life playing guitar, I think of the pickup sets that I've always grew up with that I really enjoyed were like the Tone Zone and the Air Norton from DiMarzio and the JB and the 59 from Seymour Duncan. And these pickups are kind of in that vein of having the bridge a little hotter, a little more punchy, and then the neck pickup just be a little warmer and sweeter. Let's go ahead and look though at the electronics. You can see the electronics cavity plate is recessed with the body, it's flushed, and the tremolo bridge is on top of the body. That is very typical. I mean, some companies recess it, but this is on top. A lot of people have some really intense emotions about that. I just don't really get it, me personally, since I leave the backplates off almost all my guitars. So let's get into this guitar. Kiesel installs brass inserts into the cavities so that these screws are machine screws that go into machine's inserts. Let's go ahead and take this off. Okay. All right, let's take a closer look, shall we? Looking inside, what do we got? When I see Kiesel guitars, which I've done many Kiesel guitar reviews, usually the three-way switch, whether it's a blade or a toggle, they use a different type switch than this. This is a box switch. It feels really good, although I have to tell you, I absolutely love how long the switch is. I feel like it's just perfect. Like I'm not reaching down for it. It's just right there where I want it. So, and it feels pretty good quality. We have the push-pull pot right here. This is a 500K push-pull pot, of course, because there's no tone control. There's no capacitor for tone control. You look right here, what I'm tapping on right there, that's a treble bleed. So they have a treble bleed in the circuit. And then, of course, that barrel output jack. This is all copper shielded. They use copper shielding tape inside, and then the back of the cavity is also shielded to restrict unwanted electrical interference. So you can't pick up AM radio with these guitars. Looking at the tremolo, we have some pretty basic stuff here. We have the ground wire from the electronics to the pickups to the claw to ground out. This is important because when you touch the strings, you become the ground. And of course, the hip shot bridge from the back end. Everything looks pretty straightforward. And if there's a piece of information or a detail you think I missed, I have detailed sheets that I fill out on each guitar, and the link down in the description will take you right to them, and you can learn even more about this guitar, including fret wire size, Allen wrench size, you name it. Let's go ahead and play the guitar, and we'll hear how it sounds, and then I'll give you some final thoughts on this new model. What we're gonna do now is we're gonna check out the way the guitar sounds. I'm gonna run through a Synergy Syn 50 head. It has two modules in it. These are preamps that you load into the amp to get different types of amplifiers. Today we're using a Fender amplifier, which is the T Deluxe, and a Soldano. They're two of my favorite modules. I'm running a little bit of reverb and delay with the Atlantic X by NuX in the effects loop. I have it mic'd up with a Sennheiser E609 and a room mic. So let's start with the neck pickup and check out the clean channels. Here we go. Now what I'm going to do is coil split it. So we're going to coil split it and go to a single coil mode. Here's the neck pickup in single coil mode. I mean, that's pretty good. It sounds really nice. let's go to the middle setting. And the middle, we're gonna have 2 humbuckers and then we'll do 2 single coils. Here we go. And we'll do the bridge. Here's the bridge in humbucker mode, and I'll also give you a single coil sound. Go ahead and switch the amp over to the higher gain setting. We'll start with the bridge pickup, and we'll add a little delay. All right, let's go to the neck pickup. We'll check that out. Here we go. One thing I will tell you is that when you're playing the guitar, let me take the tuner off. It's not top heavy, but you have to have it in the right balance point. So if you have it here, you can see it's pretty good. On the strap, because the bout is so long here, on the strap, as we know, as I showed earlier, it's perfectly balanced on the strap. In your lap, if you put it forward, like here, you can see you get a little bit of nosedive, which is where I usually have it. So you let go, you get a little bit of that. If you put it here, no nosedive. And playing-wise, it just plays great. The neck is definitely very easy to play. And a guitar has a lot of sound considering it's very small and very thin. Obviously, this is made for a modern contemporary player. I think that's what they're aiming for, and I think they nailed it. So what's nice about this is that the base model, it's not like you have to upgrade components. Locking keys are there, you get the gig bag, you get everything you need. You just don't get the aesthetics. So you have to decide what matters to you. If you want to get the aesthetics and pay a little bit more, or just get a good guitar that's stripped down. And that's kind of fun. It's fun to have something totally different, more tailored towards you. On that note, I want to thank you guys for hanging out, especially to the end of the video. To the next time, know your gear.